And so it is 1 o'clock, and I want to welcome everybody to QB Talks. As I was mentioning, today's program is about workflow apps. We're going to compare a series of those apps, and we're also going to differentiate the difference between a workflow app and a practice management app. And with me today is Deborah Kilsheimer, and I'll tell you a little bit more about Deborah in a minute. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Bill Murphy. Almost everybody calls me Murph. I've been around this business for a long time, been a pro advisor for more than 25 years. I've been teaching accounting and practicing finance for more than 40 years. Really, that's now 45 years. And I have more than 20 years involved in manufacturing, job supervision, construction. I currently am retired as a pro advisor, but I still contribute technical content, as almost all of you know. I write anywhere from 5 to 10 articles a week for Insightful Accountant and now Be Insightful. And I want to cover the housekeeping requirements. So we do have a series of CPE questions, and in order for you to earn CPE, which we're going to ask you in a moment, if you want to earn CPE, then you must be here for a total of at least 50 minutes, and you must answer at least 3 of the actual CPE polling questions that we present today. Now, you will receive an email after the program providing you with instructions on how you can obtain a PDF of today's presentation and also where you can access the recording. There will be an optional blue paper as well, and I'm going to tell you about that at the very end, but it's part of Be Insightful premium content. Now, we will only be using question and answers today, so don't be posting in the chat. It should be turned off, but I don't know whether Matt got it turned off or not. Now, we want to know if you want CPE. So Matt's going to launch a polling question here that asks you right quick, do you want CPE? And Matt, do you have that polling question?
Just continue, Murph. We don't have that polling question here.
Oh, you didn't put that in today. Okay. Well, then we'll ignore that. Now, today's QB Talks is also a Be Insightful webinar, and Be Insightful is our new program that contains both free and premium content. And you can get more information about this by answering the poll that Matt has now posted. By the way, today's comprehensive app compare blue paper that accompanies this presentation, that's not the PDF of the slide deck, nor the recording. It's a separate comprehensive paper that I've written that's about 42 pages long, and it's only available to Be Insightful members. Okay, Matt, let's go ahead and close that poll so we can get moving on. And as I said, with me today is Deborah Kilsheimer. Deborah's a partner in Behind the Scenes Financials. She's a top 100 pro advisor and has been for many, many, many years, as she reminds me all the time. She's a co-host of Bookkeepers on File, YouTube channel and podcast. She's known for making accounting relatable to both her own clients as well as those she teaches. She wants to make it teachable so they understand it. And most of all, we know that she's a lot of fun and makes everything fun that she's involved with, including today. She's a thought leader in value-based pricing, money mindset, and operational efficiency. And Deborah, I'm sure glad you're here to make everything fun because you know me, I'm boring as all get out.
I'll do my best.
Now, folks, we do have a sponsor today, and our sponsor is Plane, and they are the makers of both Plane and Stockpit, which are inventory management solutions. And with us is Arnaud Gabadown, who is going to tell us all about these two solutions over the next 10 or so minutes. And so, welcome to QB Talks, Arnaud.
Thanks, Murph, and Murph, Deborah, nice meeting you. Thanks for having me today. Just let me know when you want me to get started, and I'll.
You can go ahead and share your screen and start.
All right, I'm gonna start now then. Okay. All right, can you see my screen okay?
No.
I can.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
All
I
right.
think everybody else can but me, but
Perfect.
that's all right.
I'll share the slides with you, Murph, Murph, after. So thanks again for having me. Airplane, the company. So it's a little bit of a play on word. Airplane. It does start with the ERP, so that because that's a bit the story of the company. So we provide and we sell and create two different apps. One called Airplane, one called Stockpit, and I'll get a little more into details in just a couple of minutes. But in short, we help your customers manage, or we help your customers provide solutions around B2B sales and inventory management. So let me just go to the next slide. So that slide a little bit to show you that we've been around for a while. We have customers in over 60 countries. We're really well reviewed. Here are some logos of some of our customers. Most of our customers are small businesses, so you might not know necessarily those names, but they're mostly in the fields of wholesale distribution. So that's a little bit the type of customer that we deal with. Health and beauty, food and beverages. So as you can see, it's quite diverse in terms of the customers that we're working with. And I thought I would share a little bit more some insight about what our customers are looking for. So I'm going to base that presentation about your customers, what their needs are, and some of the solutions that we can provide. So the first one is I thought I would do a little bit of a spotlight on B2B customers. And B2B customers are simply like if your customers are selling to other professionals, not necessarily to the end consumer, or B2C as we call them as well. And selling to B2B customers can be very different than selling to other type of customers. And for that matter, it's even very different to sell to different B2B customers. So one customer can be very different from the others. And you need to have a platform, you need to have solutions in order to provide them with a solution or features that they might need. So I thought I would just highlight a few of them. Having the ability to have an advanced and flexible sales workflow. So it's great to be able to create estimates and invoices, but being able to create sales orders, shipping orders, being able to reserve your inventory and know who you reserved it for, a little bit in between the estimate and the invoice can be very useful for these B2B customers. Having the ability to have specialized pricing. So I can sell the same product at multiple prices. So I can have a wholesale price, a retail price. I can have a tier 1, tier 2 pricing. Depending on the category of customers, even within B2B, I might need to be able to have different price levels to sell to different prices. And then we have price rules, specialized pricing. There's a few things that you might be able to use there. Something that's emerged in the last few years is the ability to provide your customers or your customers' customers the ability to replenish the orders, to reorder via e-commerce platform, but again, specialized in B2B. And I'll get to why it's specialized to B2B. Why is it different than a Shopify store, for example? And then even within your B2B customers, you might want to sell that to them differently. You might have minimum order amounts, minimum quantity amounts. You might have different credit limits, different terms and conditions, of course, just legally. So you might be able to you might need to make some differences between your customers. And then finally, based on where you're selling, who you're selling to, you might be able to manage multiple locations. So having the ability to track that information, where your products are, where they've been sold from, that could be very useful. So as you can see here, that's really oriented towards selling to B2B customers. And this is something that Airplane can help you with. In terms of inventory management, a quick reminder here, I know not everybody is familiar with a little more advanced inventory features. I've heard many accountants and CPAs even telling me, I don't want to manage inventory. I prefer working with customers that don't have inventory. I've heard that a few times, but it's actually really not that complicated at all. Just a quick reminder that inventory is not just a number. So having one quantity only will not give you a real visibility of your inventory. In order to really manage your inventory and to be able to optimize your inventory, you'll need to track on hand what's available for sale, what's been reserved, what's incoming. So if you create purchase orders, what's incoming that you have not received, all this information. So here, at least, that's probably 4 or 5 numbers that you might want to track that will really help optimize your customer's business. Having different product types, so being able to create assemblies, being able to create kits or bundles, being able to manage multiple quantities with packs and boxes, that could be very useful as well. Depending on the industry that you're working in, you might want to, or you might need, actually, that's usually a need or requirement. You might be required to track batches and expiry dates. So again, if you're in the food industry, for example, that's a good example. You might want to be able to track, as I mentioned earlier, exactly what inventory you have in each of your stock locations. So if you have multiple warehouses, if you store products in your office, if you have trucks, you might be able to find it very useful to see what's available in each of these locations in real time. And then finally, if you have barcodes on your products, you can use them in order to scan and to easily select them when you create sales orders or invoices or stock adjustments or that type of thing. So that was a little bit of a background information on, like in terms of sales needs for your customers or inventory needs for your customers. So we actually provide 2 different solutions, one called Airplane. Airplane is a standalone product, standalone software. It's fully online, and you don't need any other software to use Airplane. But of course, one of the very popular needs from our customers is to be able to connect it to QuickBooks. So we provide a great native integration to QuickBooks, and Airplane will help you manage all your sales workflow, estimate sales orders, shipping orders, invoicing, payments. We have the B2B store. We have a whole bunch of great features, but you'll need to do everything in Airplane, and then we sync that information or the relevant information to QuickBooks. You don't have to manage multiple products. Your catalog syncs in real time. So it's mostly information created in Airplane will sync to QuickBooks. And then a couple of years ago, we created a new software called StockBit. StockBit is not a standalone software. It's really working as an add-on to your QuickBooks account, where you can simply manage everything in QuickBooks. So you can do your invoicing, you can do your purchase orders, and StockBit will analyze that information in order to provide you with advanced inventory features. Those features will go into a little more details, but these are pretty much all the inventory features I talked about, like locations and assemblies. So 2 different software, completely independent. If you need a full solution, B2B sales and inventory, Airplane's a great choice. If you need just some inventory features to your QuickBooks account, I would encourage you to look at StockBit. And I'm not going to cover that in very details because I talked about most of those features in my previous slides, but that's just a quick reminder. Airplane, all the sales features like the ability to create multiple price levels, having a great sales workflow with sales orders, shipping orders, the B2B store product types like assemblies and kits. We also provide multiple languages. So right now it's English and French. You might notice a little bit of a French accent when I speak, so that's probably why. So that's Airplane. And then we keep hearing great things about how easy it is to use, how they like our user interface. So I'm not going to do a demo because we don't have time, but I just thought I would show you a couple screenshots to show you that it's really easy to use. So that's the creation of the sales orders and selecting your products. That's the ability to see your inventory across multiple stock locations. That's the ability to have multiple price levels for each of your products. So as you can see here, wholesale, retail, and any other pricing that you need here. It's completely customized. And then a quick snapshot on our e-commerce platform. So why is it a B2B store? It's because it supports an advanced sales workflow. You don't create just an invoice, you create a sales order that's pending validation. And then you can create your shipping orders and payments. You can customize the prices based on the customer and customize the product selection as well. StockBit, all the same inventory features I talked about, but no sales features, no sales workflow, no price levels, for example. And then my last slide here is simply a little bit to show you, to remind you that I know a lot of your customers are probably looking into, or Intuit is telling them maybe that they might want to look at QuickBooks Online versus QuickBooks Desktop. And between our two solutions, Airplane and StockBit, I think we can really help you make that transition easy because we'll be adding on top of QuickBooks Online some of the features that are missing from QuickBooks Desktop. And again, here you can see the list. These are the features some of the features we just talked about, but that could be very useful. And then in terms of pricing, again, I will not cover that in detail. It will be in the slides that might be shared with you, but depending on the product and depending on the number of customers or users, Airplane is anywhere from $65 to $249. And then StockBit is anywhere from $9 to $59, again, depending on the features. And then finally, don't hesitate to contact us. We're here to help answer your questions, and hopefully we can help your customers. Thank you very much.
All right.
I could listen to him say inventory all day.
Okay.
So we should be back to the slide deck. And the next thing we're going to do is throw open a poll. If you'd like more information about Airplane, go ahead and answer yes here. And we'll make sure that Arnaud and his group get your contact info. Arnaud, there's actually, I think, 2 or 3 questions in the Q&A that you may want to address. And so
I can see the question.
Be sure you get that. And folks, remember, we need you to answer these as quickly as possible. So I'm going to count this down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, great. And thanks again, Arnaud, for being here today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Arnaud will be sticking around to answer any other questions if you pose those. So, folks, I'm going to move on. And first is to talk about our learning objectives. And we've got 3. You'll be able to select which user group, workflow apps, or practice management apps are best configured to serve. You'll also be able to identify 3 key workflow app features from those listed that you consider critical. You, not us. And identify 1 key ranking factor from those listed that you consider most important in workflow app selection. So let's talk a minute about the difference between workflow versus practice management apps. They're both related, but they're both very distinct. And while all practice management apps should include workflow functionality, most workflow apps do not include practice management capabilities. Although we know that there are workflow apps that actually are practice managers, but these two categories everybody seems confused by these two. Practice management apps encompass the administration operational tasks necessary to run a business, including professional firms. That's why they are a tool for you as an accountant, bookkeeper, or consultant to help you manage your own business. In contrast, workflow apps are focused on specific steps and sequences involved in completing particular tasks or processes within any business. And so the way to think about these really is that from an advisory standpoint, you may want to explore practice management for your own firm, but you want to actually look at helping your clients select workflow apps. Now, there's an exception to that, and that is if you can't afford a practice management app for your own firm because you're too small, then you should consider a workflow app, and that will help you at least accomplish your necessary activities. And so, Deb, I'm going to ask you to jump in here because she and I've kind of had this debate over which apps are what and what apps are supposed to do, and this is her take on it. You're muted.
Okay. Going to go to the next slide. I can't advance it. It's on your screen.
Yeah, right. So I'm on the what is workflow.
Oh, I don't see that. I see
You're
the
not
learning objectives.
Hmm.
Well, I can look at my notes here. That will work.
Well, I'll show that I'm sharing this screen.
Screen sharing is paused on my, yeah, your screen sharing is paused on my side. That's Teresa says that.
Huh.
Anyway.
Well,
Well,
just
workflow,
a minute.
I'll just keep talking.
I've got to get this. Yeah.
All right. Workflow to me is where you have especially in accounting firms, you have a flow of tasks you need to do to get to the end result. So there's the task that needs to be done. There's where are you in the task? Has it been reviewed? Is it completed? And then is the report generated? So all along those steps, because I think if we're solopreneurs, meaning we're the only ones working in the practice, we know all these steps in our head. And unfortunately, did I remember to do this? Did I remember to do that? So I remember when I thought David Allen at Scaling New Heights was great. You can only remember 4 things. So I've always been very good about not wanting to remember anything. There we are. Not wanting to remember anything. So I write down every single step of every single task. The other benefit to that for me is I like checking off the box. So, I can check off the box that I did it. So, and then I don't have to remember what's my next step. So workflow apps help that. Now, when you start adding team members, you can start to assign it and see where you are in the process. Because I think as business owners, I was always very anxious when I had staff, like, where are we in this? Because I would have to constantly ask them, how are you coming with the sales tax? Where are you in this process? Did you remember to do this? So I created checklists and all of that. So it was a lot of stuff that was not coordinated under one roof. So a workflow app will put it into the same bucket. So you don't have to be texting, using Slack, using all of these different tools. You know, here's the before and the after. Before, spreadsheets, sticky notes, whiteboards. I mean, I'd get up from my desk and go into the offices and find out where things were. Manual tracking. I never knew where they were. I'd have to like sometimes sit down at the computer and see, did they actually do that? But then after it with workflow apps, you have, you know, checklists and dashboards and you can comment. So it speeds up process. Now I know Murph said something, if you can't afford it, raise your price to afford it. These are tools that you need to effectively run your business. So I will not accept your excuse that you can't afford it. Raise your price and pay for it. You know, so why should accountants use workflow? Because everybody knows what to do when. There's efficiency. I will tell you, I'm married to a non-tech accountant, and it is so inefficient that it drives me absolutely crazy because he never knows where anything is in the status. I track everything and he never knows. So I don't know where I left this off. Where am I on this? I have to double check. So for him to get back into where he left off, he has to constantly be looking. Of course, will he use one of these apps? He always gives me the excuse, well, I'm old. Well, he's been old since I met him 30 years ago. But anyway, so it does help efficiencies when you're starting to use that stuff. The other thing too, it keeps your mind free. So you can have the thinking of what do I need to do next? I'm not bogged down with, oh, don't forget to do this. Don't forget to do this. It's all there out in front of it. You have empowerment. If you do have team members, you can onboard, delegate, and manage what they do. You can see what they're doing and give them the authority or the power to take care of their own task. And you could just double check where they are. And like I said, peace of mind. Fewer fires, fewer surprises. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night. Oh my gosh, was that sales tax filed? I mean, I know the workflow of what has to be done, the tasks, and when it has to be completed. So to me, workflow systems make a difference on how you're working on your business and not just in it.
All right. So with all this little bit of background, and I'm sorry for the slide confusion,
That's okay.
but you should still be able to answer CPE polling question number 1. So Matt, throw that poll open, please. Select the one answer that is not true here. Okay, let's go ahead and close that poll. We don't need to display the answer. And I will just tell you the answer here, because this is not true, was number 4. Okay, so these are the workflow apps that we're going to look at, and we're going to look at them and run through them very quickly. Aero Workflow, FloQast, Jetpack, Monday, Trello, Yuku, XBert, and Xenett. And some of you may have heard recently Jason Stats talking all about both Uku and XBert. But they were on our list long before he started talking about them. And you must also remember that we have used this set of key comparison factors for all of the app compares we've done. And so we'll still be looking at them today. And folks, I'm going to show you the overall results first. Now, Aero scored 9.3 when we took all those factors and factored them together. And you'll notice that Monday.com scored 9.35. So the Monday.com was the number 1 leader, and Aero was right behind them. And then you'll see some of the others here. XBert 8.37, Trello 8.44, FloQast 8.31. And we'll come back to that in a bit. So We're ready for our CPE polling question number 2. Which of the following is not a key workflow app factor? I showed those to you a minute ago. Which of them is not a key workflow app factor? If you're trying for CPE, you need to make sure you're answering these actual polls. Ease of implementation, configurability, the application programming interface, or functional performance. And Matt, we're ready to go ahead and close this poll. We don't need to show the responses. But folks, the answer is number 3. Application programming interface is not one of our key workflow criteria that we have been measuring in every one. All right, so I've got good news for you. We've redone our blue papers, and we now provide 3 ways to look at every one of these apps. We have a graphic presentation. Most of you have seen that before because we've used that in all of our old work papers. We have a new tabular form that puts key functionality and features in narrative so you can look at them side by side. And then, of course, we have a complete narrative like we've always had, but it's been redesigned to avoid duplication that some of you told us. You're saying the same thing about 3 different times on this one page. So I'm going to show you that we have a whole variety. There's almost, actually, I think there's 102 features or functions that we have measured for each of these apps. And so I'm going to show you a few of the, what I call the A's, because they're all now listed in alphabetical order. And then I'll show you how that looks on our tabular form. And you'll see that, for example, here, auto reminders and notifications. Aero offers insights into workflow tasks, aiding in data-driven decision making. And if you look over here, Monday.com has limited automated reminders. They can't transmit client reminders. And when there are updates to tasks and projects, updates only post to their what they call Slack channel connection if you're using Slack. So those are examples. But the key here is that more than just a checkbox, like in the prior display, you actually have a narrative that gives you quick references to how each one of these apps performs across this functionality. And we have about, I think it's almost 30 of these functionalities that are displayed in our 2-page comparison. And then here's some of the C's, things like client management. Well, my gosh, they all pretty well do client management. And they all have a client portal, and they do communications management where you can tie all your emails, et cetera, et cetera. And they all offer customized templates. But for example, not all of these offer customizable fields. And here's some others, things like issue management. Can you actually track issues? Now, what's an issue? Well, we cover like jobs, projects, tasks, and then subtasks or issues. So that's how many layers you can create in what you want to track. And whether they offer planning. And L, by the way, means limited. And we tell you why it's limited. It might be limited because it's in a different version, or it requires a different layer, or it just actually is limited. And so here's an example of the kind of info we're showing you about Aero workflow. Um, Aero is a cloud-based workflow management app designed for accountants. So it really is more of a practice management app. They just call it workflow. But everybody, our top 100, ranked it a workflow app instead of a practice management app. It focuses on streamlining tasks and scheduling team members' work and enhancing productivity. Um, and I'm not going to give you all this info, but that's the kind of info that we're providing. You'll see all of these factors remain the same in our narrative. And so if we look at FloQast, for example, it's a workflow management software that helps accountants and bookkeepers streamline and automate month end. Now, it calls itself a workflow manager also, but really it's a practice manager, enhancing team member collaboration, improving transparency in project and task workflows, automating reconciliation, documentation, and compliance using customized templates. And so I'm going to give you my goods and bads about each of the two we've just looked at. Aero, it's easy to understand in terms of the workflows that you can set up. And it has great functionality for the cost. It is somewhat complex to set up, and its integrations are more limited than several of the others. But FloQast, on the other hand, is built to streamline period end close, and its workflows maximize the efficiency of large teams. But its complexity requires a substantial learning curve. And it's the most expensive of the solutions that we're comparing here. So Jetpack, now you'll notice I've used the back side of this page to give you an example of the other kinds of information. And one of the things that we provide that I never see in anybody else's comparisons is we give you all of the developers' contact information, how to get a hold of them by phone, how to get a hold of them by email, where they're physically located so you can go track them down right to their suite number, etc., etc. And also all their support lines, support mechanisms, etc., which we score. Monday.com. Now, Monday.com is a workflow management software platform that helps teams organize, manage, and automate their workflows. It absolutely is not related to the accounting industry, bookkeeping industry, consulting industry. It's designed for any kind of business. But remember, when we looked at the overall measures, it came out ahead of everybody else. That's because it uses almost every one of the functional capabilities that we review, that 100 and some odd, and it offers that in one shape, form, or fashion. Plus, it's simple. And so here's my comparison of Jetpack and workflow. Jetpack offers accounting-specific workflows. It has excellent progress reporting, but it doesn't offer a client portal, and it may not be able to grow with your business. Monday.com is easy to set up and configure. Remember, it's designed for almost anyone to be able to use it. Even I could set it up. Modern, intuitive user interface. It looks slick. It's nice. It is not accounting specific, so don't think you're buying something specific for accountants. And it does have limited integrations, and some of those require you to use third-party connectors. Trello. Trello is a web-based Kanban style task manager tool. It's designed also to deal with almost any situation and any kind of business. It has a lot of functionality and capability, and you'll notice it was ranked pretty high. And then Uku, and again, this is one of the ones that I know Jason Stat's been yapping about quite a bit lately. It is an automated task planning and process system, and it is designed for accountants and bookkeepers. So you've got kind of two different groups here, those that are bookkeeping and accounting specific, and then those that are general. But in some cases, the general tools turned out better in their capabilities. Trello is simple to set up and use. It has a minimum learning curve. It excels in planning, management, and notification. It has limited customization and limited workflow customization. It has limited integrations without using third-party connectors. Uku is easy to use. Its workflow templates fit almost all accounting situations. They've done their homework to try to get it set up. It has a minimal learning curve, and it sets up quickly. It has limited ability, though, to customize those workflow templates that it's already created. And one thing we noticed is that sometimes you had to wait on it. You saw that spinning circle of death. Well, it didn't die, but it took a while for it to connect. XBert. This is one of the ones when I first started this, I thought, XBert? I've never heard of that. It's a workflow management tool primarily for accountants and bookkeepers to streamline and automate your processes. And it organizes almost everything. It's got great dashboards, great calendar presentations, easy trackability. And then Xenett. And it is a workflow automation software designed to simplify the complex. It's really designed to help keep professionals on time, to reduce their errors, and to streamline their management of any and all functions they assign to the software. That's a key word there I used, assigned to the software. That's because its AI functionalities are based around the capabilities you tell it you want it to be able to help you with. XBert optimizes organizational efficiencies. It has also AI-driven insights. It has limited customization capabilities. And actually, its workflows can become tedious due to the AI influences. It's kind of like that business that I have where one of my AIs tells me, you want to change these words in what you're writing, Murph. Okay, I change them. Then another AI says, oh, no, that's not right. Change it again. And then it says, oh, another one says, no, you were right the first time. Xenett. Tasks and workflow management ensure activities aren't missed. It has great collaboration. It's complex to set up, and it has limited customization. It requires an extended learning curve in order to understand where the AI is working for you. So here's how they scored, folks, on our feature set, these criteria. You can see that Monday and Aero scored the same in ease of implementation ahead of everyone else. They scored the same in ease of use ahead of everyone else. They scored the same in support ahead of everyone else. They scored the same in configurability, but XBert was in there also. And then you'll notice that XBert had a better reputation than any of the others. Automation capabilities, well, Monday and Aero pretty well tied again. And the composite score, as I said, was Monday.com came out 9.35, Aero Workflow 9.3. That's a real close tie. And so then you want to know, well, let's factor in cost, because you said, Murph, cost was one of our factors, but it's not in this list. That's because it's too complex to put in there. We've got to put it in separate. So we give you a blend of what we call low to medium and then medium to high. And you can see those here. And you'll also notice that FloQast has only one price. That's actually just their starting price, because it varies by almost everything. But you'll notice here that the average low to medium price is $23 a month. So you can look at everything and see how that works. And the average medium to high is $45 a month. And you can see how that works. And so the most bang for the buck is Monday.com. They just, for what you get and what they charge, it's the most bang for the buck. That's all I can say about it. And Deborah has her own thoughts. She says, you did all this homework, but that's not what I believe. So, Deborah, go ahead, and you got your mic off again.
Okay. These are my three favorites. Now, my absolute favorite is Aero. And why do I like Aero? Because my friend Laura Redmond wrote it. She's a Woodard member, and Laura is one of us. So she knows exactly the struggles that we have, and she's designed Aero to solve those problems. So the fact that Laura is behind it, to me, and she's built a very successful accounting firm in addition to having Aero workflow, that to me was a real big plus. So I really like Aero workflow because it was designed for us, bookkeepers and accountants, by one of us. It is a little functional and a little dated, no big deal. It's accounting specific. It does interact with QBO, which I like. And I like it for those reasons. Jetpack, I started with Jetpack, and it was easy to set up and starting to use, and I like that. And Monday, I like Monday, but the thing that I think is a limiting factor to me is that it is not accounting specific. But the secret to any of these apps is pick one and start using it. You will never pick it up immediately, but if you start, you will get better at it. So I always like the ones that, let me just start with this one little piece, learn that, go to the next piece, learn that. Aero Workflow also has templates that you can use that I really like. So I think that Laura has those in for workflow that we can use together. So I just, these are my three that I think are very valuable to our community. So that's what I think.
All right. So we're going to open another polling question, and we want to know which one of the following is your most critical ranking factor in selecting a workflow app: ease of implementation, ease of use, support, configurability or customization, reputation, automation capabilities, functional performance, price or cost. What do you consider most important when you're picking a workflow app, or for that matter, any app? We're going to hold this poll open for just a few more minutes, or seconds, I should say. And, well, ease of use is number 1. Functional performance is number 2. Configurability is number 3. Ease of implementation is number 4. And it looks like price is number 5. I will tell you folks, that's a little high. Overall, generally, when we present this list to our top 100 pro advisors, price is almost always at the very bottom. So it's good to see some changes in here. And so we're going to give you one last chance to decide that if you want to hear from our sponsor, Airplane, about their 2 solutions. So this is your last chance to decide if you want to hear from them if you didn't answer yes the first time. And then we're going to look at some of your questions real quick. May not get to all of them, but all right. And let's go ahead and close that poll. And so I want to look at a few of these. I realize some of them were about the screen stopped. Yeah, okay. So why is HubSpot not included? And so I mentioned at the start that we actually took our list from those that the top 100 pro advisors gave us, and they categorized apps as being either workflow or practice management. We aligned that with what the developers told us, whether or not they described it that way or not. And HubSpot actually is a practice manager, and it's not really used by a substantial number of our pro advisors, although we use it here at Insightful Accountant. Can we download or print any of these charts? You will have access to today's PDF of the slides, but I'm going to tell you again in a minute how you can gain access to the blue paper that contains the detailed information. Financial Sense is a practice manager, and it will be in our practice manager app compare later this fall.
Same with Keeper.
And same with Keeper. And then at Scaling No Heights, somebody mentions Levy. And yes, there were several new tools, but folks, I've been working on this for 5 months, so I can't very well rely on what comes out. And so, yeah, and Kimberly mentioned, I'm surprised that Financial Sense and Keeper are not in the charts. Well, again,
They'll be the next time.
they both describe themselves as practice managers, and our top 100 consider them practice managers, not workflow apps. Remember, every practice manager should contain or include workflow, but not every workflow is a practice manager or even a business manager. Where's Keeper? Okay, well, we just told you where Keeper is. Where's Keeper? Can we get this report? Yep, so I'm getting ready to tell you Financial Sense, Canopy. Canopy's another practice manager, etc. Client Hub, yeah. We're even going to include QBO Accountant and Xero practice manager in our list of practice managers, so you can compare them all side by side to all the others. So I want to mention that next month on QB Talks, Avalara will be with us, and that starts on August the 6th at 2 p.m. And they're going to be giving us a few surprises, I think. So if you want the blue paper on workflow app comparison with all of the charts and all of the breakdowns and all of the summaries, et cetera, then you need to head over to our Be Insightful membership and sign up for membership. Now, remember, as I told you, there's two kinds of membership. There's free membership and there's paid membership. But I encourage you to at least sign up for the cost of $1 for at least a month in order to give paid membership an opportunity. You'll find that there is content there that really is how to. And for example, just yesterday, I posted a new how to migrate to Sage 50 from QuickBooks Desktop. So that's an example. And with that said, I want to thank our guest, our sponsor. I want to thank my guest host, Deborah, for being here today and contributing and giving you her truth about my misnomers. And I want to thank each of you, the 100, I think I saw at one point, 123 of you here today for attending. And remember, Future Forward is also tomorrow at the same time, and your notice that you got should also get you into Future Forward. So I'm not sure what the topic is, but I look forward to seeing you because I've got to be there every day this week. With that said, we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Thank you, Murph, and thanks everybody for coming.